Hi, I'm Derek Morgan. I'm the father of two student athletes at very different stages of their sports scholarship journey. So our oldest daughter, Georgia, is already in the States. She is currently on the east coast of the USA in the Mid-Atlantic region, playing Division One field hockey, and she's studying psychology and just having the time of her life. She's traveling every other weekend, seeing amazing places. She's got a great bunch of new friends around her. She's staying in amazing places when she travels, and just having the time of her life, whilst getting the degree that she really wants and that she's really passionate about. Our younger daughter, Amelia, is 2 years behind Georgia. So she's 2 years from finishing high school and graduating. And her plan is to follow in her sister's footsteps and go and play as an elite athlete in the US college system. Now, the two girls' journeys are going to be poles apart. And that's essentially what this video is about, is talking about the three critical things that you need to understand in getting a sports scholarship, and some of the things that are the realities of a process that you won't necessarily get told by recruitment agencies, or that information is not necessarily easy to find in them out in cyberspace. So I want to just take you very quickly. I don't want this to be a really long video. I want to take you very quickly through Georgia's journey, all the pitfalls and hassles and challenges that we faced, and then what we learned along the way in that process, and then understanding how we could take that knowledge, apply it to our technology business, and work directly with coaches to help athletes and their families have direct connections with colleges and take control of the recruitment process. Because we thought we'd outsourced an outcome to a recruitment agency. In our personal case, that process fell a long way short of delivering what Georgia wanted in the form of a sports scholarship. And it wasn't because she wasn't smart enough. She had a great GPA, she had a great SAT results, she was playing state level hockey, playing top level divisional hockey here in Brisbane. So she had everything going for her, yet the recruitment agency process still wasn't able to get her even close to what she wanted from an ideal scholarship scenario. So that's what I want to sort of take you through, some of the pitfalls and assumptions that we made which didn't happen to be the reality of how the process really works. Contrast that with Amelia's scenario, where she's 2 years out from being ready to graduate, and already she's got dozens of direct connections with colleges that fit her ideal scholarship, her dream scholarship. So she shortlisted the colleges, identified the type of college that she wants to go to, and now she's directly in touch with those coaches and can build a relationship over time. So she's no doubt going to have multiple different scholarship opportunities presented to her along the way. So she's going to have a lot of choice. That was very different to the scenario we had with Georgia, because there's a big knowledge gap for us. So Georgia decided at 14 that she wanted to go over to study overseas, but we knew nothing about the process. What were the opportunities and how to get there? So there's a big knowledge gap for us. So we had to bridge that gap. And we were busy at the time. We've got a growing technology business and two kids playing representative sports, travel, everything that goes on. Everyone's life's busy. Everybody's got stuff going on. So for us, the obvious choice for us was to outsource the process to a recruitment agency. It seemed like the right thing to do, or the smart thing to do. So we paid thousands of dollars to a recruitment agency expecting that they would get us a result. The reality was that they fell a long way short of that process. So, when we talked about the three critical things that you need to understand where you fit into the system academically, you need to understand where you fit into the system from a sporting perspective, and there's lots of opportunities in the US. There's thousands of colleges, there's lots of different programs, and within reason, there's lots of opportunities for different levels of sporting capability. But Georgia was focused on getting a Division 1 spot. So that's what she wanted. And we just expected that the recruitment agency process was going to take care of that because they would have direct contact with coaches. What we found out, and this is what you won't find out from recruitment agents, is that there's a big disconnect, or there can be a big disconnect here, right? This massive gap where a recruitment agency, because there's so many colleges over there and so many different coaches and so many different programs, that a recruitment agency, is nearly impossible for them to be across all colleges, all coaches and all sports. That's just a logistical reality. The other thing that we found out is that a lot of coaches in the US won't deal with recruitment agencies. So when we found out that Georgia, late in her process, wasn't getting the offers that she was after, and we realised that the recruitment agency wasn't going to be able to bring those types of coaches to the table, we had to go it alone. And it was in that process of going it alone that we discovered how things really worked, because we spoke to a lot of coaches in the States, and they were telling us that they get bombarded with emails. A lot of agencies just spew email at them. So when you're dealing with an agency who says, we've got 30,000 coaches on our database, if you want to go and spend a couple of grand, you can get those same 30,000 email lists, and you could spew your profile and your athlete details to 30,000 coaches. You can do that. A little bit of research, you go and find it, you pay a few thousand US dollars, get the list, load it up into an email campaign management tool, and just spray and pray. That's what happens with a lot of agencies. Okay, they're just spraying information out there untargeted at the coaches. What we found out in speaking to a lot of coaches when we were touring the US is that we've got coaches over there who are telling us that they block agency emails. They just put the spam filter on and send them to junk mail and don't even look at them. We've got other coaches saying that at peak periods they're getting 100, 120, 130 emails a day. So they're just being swamped. They can't possibly get to them all. So they get really frustrated with the recruitment agents. And that's not to say that they don't use recruitment agents, but typically they will have boutique relationships with an agency, right? And that agency may only deal with them for a fraction of their athletes. So basically what we discovered was that recruitment agents only get a small portion of the scholarships that are on offer. So if you're going to go with a recruitment agency, understand where the limitations are, right? It's not to say that that's a bad choice, but just understand that may not be your solution. And if you're like us and you're relying on that process, you get very close to the end of year 12 for Georgia with no offers, and then you're scrambling and you've got to you're trying to go it alone, and that process has its own set of challenges. So that issue, once we found out that issue, that there was this this big gap between or this roadblock essentially between recruitment agents and potentially the types of scholarships that we were looking for, then we had to find a way around that process, and that's essentially what we've done. Okay, and that's why the scenario is completely different for our younger daughter, because we've created all of these connections directly to coaches, and we've created the systems and processes now to help other people go into that process. So whether you're going through a recruitment agency, you should still understand how you can take control of the process and create a safety net for yourself so that you are making direct connections with coaches, and we can help make that process easier for you. But you definitely want to take control of the process and not rely solely on an agency, because whatever agency you're with, you can just about be assured that they're not going to be having access to all of the opportunities and scholarship opportunities that coaches are recruiting for. Okay, so then how do you bridge that gap for you? Okay, so they're the questions that you need to understand. In relation to academics, there's lots of information out in cyberspace. Google and YouTube should be your best friend. Understanding how you can research and doing your research. The academic side of things is, there's lots of information out there for you. We, in our 30-day sports scholarship game plan program, we fast track you through this whole research process. With the sports side of things and where you fit into the US college system from a sporting perspective is a little bit more complex. Okay, so understanding where your skills and ability fit between the different divisions, say if you're in NCAA Division 1 or 2 or 3, the NAIA, depending on what sports you're in, or the junior college programs, understanding where you fit and the multiple different pathways, that's when it starts to become a little bit more complex. But we can help you out with the connecting coaches, understanding where you fit from the sports side of things and helping you fast track or understand where you fit from an academic side of things as well. But it's really, the art and the science is really around the connecting with coaches piece. That's the most challenging aspect of this whole process. Okay, so dealing with that was the reason that we set up usasportsscholarship.com and the Game Changer program. So yeah, make sure you do your research, ask the right questions of the recruitment agents, and ask them how many athletes they placed in your sport last year and the previous year. Okay, you want the numbers and the names of the colleges so you can go through and do the research. And if they're not recruiting into and placing people in the types of colleges that you want to go into, then you need to make sure that you're taking control of the process, because you can't be with every agency. The cost is just too high. So if you cover all of your bases with the different coaches and who, the quirks and who they may use, if they're using an agency at all, which one are they using? Okay, and they won't be using a bunch, I can assure you of that based on our conversations with coaches. Okay, so how do you find the right agent that's going to fit with you? You just need to ask better questions. So yeah, I hope you found that useful. And if you need more support in this process of you taking control of your own recruitment process, then our 30-day sports scholarship game plan may be appropriate for you. So yeah, if you're watching this video on YouTube, you can find that link down below in the description box. Thanks.